Hello, dear listeners. Welcome back. Students, today we are diving into a topic that directly affects millions of rural workers in India. We are going to talk about wages under the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme, or simply MANREG. Question is why that we are going to explore today is why are workers across different states paid differently, and why is there is a demand to increase wages, and why has the funding for West Bengal's workers been stopped. So stick around, and by the end of this episode you will have a clear understanding of what's happening and why it matters. Now let's start with the basics that we always do. Imagine you live in a rural village where job opportunities are scarce. Wouldn't it be great if the government guaranteed you 100 days of paid work every year? Well, that's exactly what Manregs is. Yes. So, Manregs में क्या है? It provides 100 days of unskilled manual work. 100 days of unskilled manual work to rural household at the minimum wage. And of course, if government is going to provide you manual work, in return you'll get salary or you'll get fund, right? So centers of the all money centers cover 100% of the unskilled labor cost and 75% of the material cost, meaning the material which you will be provided with to do the manual work. Now the wages are based on something called CPI, agricultural laborers, okay, CPIAL. And it is implemented, this whole scheme is implemented by the Ministry of Rural Development along with state governments. Okay, that sounds good, right? But there's a problem. The wages are not uniform across India, and they are not increasing fast enough to match the inflation. See, every year inflation is rising, and supposedly if I am getting 100 rupees daily, 100 rupees daily for my work, and it's been constant for like 10 years, now the inflation is rising, but now the money which I'm getting, its purchasing power will lose, right? Its purchasing power will decrease. So wages are always adjusted as per the inflation, right? And this is the concern. See, first of all, the number one concern is the wages. It is not uniform across India. So different states are providing different wages. Moreover, they are not increasing fast enough to match the inflation level. Okay, so that's another concern. Now, the problem along with the wages is that, say, there's a worker who is living in the Nagaland. Okay, so the worker in Nagaland or Arunachal Pradesh, he or she earns rupees 234 per day. Okay, so he or she earns rupees 234 per day, while a worker in Haryana or Sikkim earns 374 per day. Now, see, that's a difference of almost 140 for the same kind of work. Okay, and we are talking here about per day. So if you just add up, and the total for the whole month will be huge, the difference will be huge, right? Now why there's a difference? See, wages is wages are linked to inflation, but experts argue that formula used to calculate them fully, the formula that is being used by the government, it doesn't fully capture the rising cost of living. You know, see, every year, like I said earlier, inflation is rising. So the formula गवर्नमेंट जिस हिसाब से वेज कैलकुलेट करती है, तो जो राइजिंग कॉस्ट है लिविंग का, उसको फुली तरह से वो एडजस्ट अकोमोडेट नहीं कर रहा है. एंड Parliamentary Standing Committee on Rural Development has been arguing that the government need to revise this formula as soon as possible because they want a uniform wage rate across all states so that no worker feels underpaid just because they live in a particular city. All right. Now let's talk about another major issue, payment delays. Imagine working hard for a full month and then being told, sorry, we don't have your salary right now and we'll pay you later. Frustrating, right? So, as of February, pending wage payment under Manregs stood almost 23,446 crore. Yes, that was the pending wages, right? तो इतना तो अभी वेज पेंडिंग है. This means thousands of rural workers, they are waiting for money that should have already been in their hands. Already उनको मिल जाना चाहिए था उनकी सैलरी, उनकी वेज जो उन्होंने मेहनत से काम किया था, लेकिन नहीं मिला है. क्यों? क्योंकि वहां पर एक डिले चल रहा है. So government has to clear all dues first. Okay, and for that 86,000 crore has been allocated, but a large portion is still going toward past payments. So this leaves less money for a new job opportunities, and ultimately it will limit the scheme's ability to help people who are in need, है ना. अब जब जो मनी एलोकेट किया जा रहा है वो पास्ट ड्यूज ही क्लियर करने में खत्म हो जाएगा, तो न्यू जॉब के लिए कहां से मनी आएगा, right? Now imagine a farmer who depends on these wages to buy seeds for the next crop season. So, a delay in payment doesn't just affect one person, it affects entire families and communities. Okay? Now, this will not go into the politics part of the news article. We'll just understand that what is happening in some states. For example, in West Bengal, the state has not received Manrek funds since March 2022. Okay, because there were allegations of corruption in the scheme's implementation, and the central government used section 27 of the Manrega Act, which allows the center to basically withhold funds if there's a misuse, right? So this whole suspension, it has caused massive distress migration, and many workers are leaving their villages in search of work somewhere else. Of course they're not going to move out, you know, they will migrate where they'll find work for the sustenance. On top of it, however, to to handle this situation, state government has launched a new program called Karmashri, basically to provide jobs to rural people. But the conflict is still there, okay? And main focus of our of this news article should be like what exactly is Manreg and how it helps the how it is actually help in the upliftment of people in rural areas and elevating the poverty. Now, question is, why should students like us should we care about this issue? See, there's an economic impact of this issue. Rural wages, it affect poverty levels. It also affect food security. Of course, if they don't have money, how they gonna buy food? And the overall economic stability of any country. So if wages are too low or delayed, people struggle to survive. And now we are seeing this. People are migrating. So they're gonna move out to some other city, right? And there's also a question of fairness and equality. Should a worker in Haryana earn more than a worker in Nagaland for the same kind of job? So the demand for uniform wages, it raises a big question about fairness in our system, right? And government also need to balance, uh, take some initiatives to stop corruption, and at the same time it also needs to ensure that people get paid on time. And if the funds are being misused, they must be stopped, right? Why should genuine workers should suffer? Now, What's next? The possible solution, the parliamentary panel has listed out some recommendation, like the wage calculation formula, it need to be revised, and there should be introduction of uniform wage rate across India. Moreover, it has also recommended that there should be timely wage payments by improving the fund management. So if the fund management is will be improved, then there will be timely wage payment for the workers. Moreover, addressing corruption issues transparently is the need of the hour. Okay, so the government's has been working for this, but as the public pressure grows, we might see some reforms in the coming years, right? So that's all for today's episode, students. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe and share. And until next time, stay curious and stay informed. Bye bye.